I transmigrated into the novel as the villainess, single-mindedly focused on following the plot to complete my mission, divorce the male lead and split the assets. On the surface, I pleaded pitifully, "Husband, can't you stay?" But inwardly, I was overjoyed. Oh my God, the female lead is finally back. Can the divorce be far behind? But the female lead is about to get engaged to someone else. Why hasn't the male lead divorced me yet? Until one day, the male lead suddenly asked me. Compared to those outside, what am I lacking? Good heavens, why can he hear my inner thoughts? Today is the day Simon's beloved Rose returns to the country. It also marks the countdown to our divorce. Just thinking about how I'll soon be free makes me so happy that I fried 2 extra sunny-side-up eggs and hummed a tune while cooking. What's got you so cheerful? Turning to meet Simon's cool gaze, I said without changing my expression, because I'm just happy whenever I see my husband. Simon was accustomed to my sweet talk and calmly took his seat at the dining table, dressed in a tailored suit with gold-rimmed glasses. His sharp features and aloof demeanor exuded an unmistakable, keep your distance aura, but the male lead's coldness was only for outsiders. The moment he faced the female lead, he instantly turned into a loyal puppy. I watched Simon eat with elegance, feeling overjoyed inside. Your female lead is returning home today, and I'll finally be free, actually. Simon isn't a bad person, but alas, male leads always belong to the female lead. Guess I'll just have to embrace my icy 300 million and grow old alone. Simon suddenly stopped and looked at me, raising his eyes to meet mine. What did you say? I awkwardly shook my head, and no, nothing. That's strange, I didn't say anything. Could it be that my gaze was too eager? Simon's puzzled gaze lingered on me for 3 seconds before he slightly furrowed his brows. From what I know of him, could this be his instinctive disgust toward me? An unloved villainess can't even breathe without being wrong. Don't worry, I'll be gone soon. Wait, no, you're the one who's leaving. I remember when they divorced, the male lead gave the female antagonist 300 million and this villa, then left to be with the female lead. Simon is actually quite decent, as long as I don't make a scene like the original female antagonist, cling to him endlessly, or scheme against the female lead. And just take the money and leave quietly. Maybe he'll feel guilty and give me a little extra compensation. Ahem, what's wrong? I looked at Simon with concern. It's nothing. That being said, I sensed an inexplicable gloom on Simon's face. Was my gaze too eager? Violet, tone it down a bit. Your character is supposed to be deeply devoted to Simon. Act a little more sorrowful. Only then will he feel guilty and leave you a larger share of the inheritance. I quickly got up to pour Simon a glass of warm water, gazing at him affectionately. Honey, take your time eating. Meeting my gaze, Simon's expression grew even stranger. Does even a villainess who hasn't done anything evil deserve such disdain? Simon took the water and drank it all in one gulp. I'm done eating, off to work now. Just thinking about him going to pick up the female lead today, and then, I feel an inexplicable excitement, starting today. I'm going to enjoy the freedom of living alone. Starting today, I'm going to learn how to be a young widow with 300 million in the bank. How about we hang out tonight? I heard they all have 8-pack abs there. Drools, thud, what's wrong? Simon accidentally knocked over the decorative item in the entryway. Why is this guy so jumpy today? It's nothing. Simon turned around and stared at me. Accompany me to a company cocktail party tonight. Huh? How is this different from the plot I know? Shouldn't you be picking Rose up at the airport, taking her to a candlelit dinner, and then gazing lovingly at each other to rekindle your romance? I'll have my assistant pick you up this afternoon for styling. Oh, facing my bewildered expression, Simon seemed to be in a good mood, the corners of his lips slightly raised, his retreating figure radiating a hint of delight. Is he so happy that the female lead is back he's gone stupid? Simon suddenly turned around and glared at me. So strange. Today's Simon is really acting strange. My marriage to Simon was entirely a tacky accident. The original female lead Violet couldn't win Simon's love, so she took advantage of his vulnerable moment during a cocktail party. Though it was clearly a calculated move, Simon still agreed to marry the original protagonist. On one hand, the Smith family relentlessly pursued the matter, seeing it as a golden opportunity to latch onto Simon's coattails. On the other hand, his beloved Rose had gone abroad to study. Simon figured since he couldn't marry the one he loved most, it didn't matter whom he married. especially since he genuinely needed the Smith family's support at the time, so he simply compromised. I'm not sure how Violet and Simon used to interact, but knowing the plot well, I understand that Simon is a deeply cunning and scheming person in the novel. When the female lead first returned, Simon still felt somewhat guilty toward Violet, but the supporting female character kept making fatal mistakes and harming the female lead, and in the end, Simon actually had her killed, although by the time I arrived, they were already married. The thought of the 300 million and the mansion in the divorce settlement, I've decided to treat Simon like a client I must please. After all, a good job paying 300 million in 3 years isn't something you can find just anywhere. I suppose Simon was tricked into marrying me, so he must loathe me as his wife. Being a perceptive contractor, I decisively moved to the guest bedroom to avoid disturbing the client's normal rest. Thus, apart from necessary social engagements, I mostly acted like an obedient housekeeper, taking care of the client's daily needs. Food, clothing, shelter, and transportation. Making money isn't shameful. At 3 p.m., Simon's assistant picked me up for styling and then dropped me off at the cocktail party venue. Watching Simon being the center of attention, I secretly thought to myself that he actually has it pretty tough. Simon is the long-lost son of the Stewart family. His mother gave birth to him solely to scheme for the Stewart family's fortune. Later, she traded Simon for a sum of money, abandoned her son to live a carefree life, and vanished without a trace, effectively becoming a mother who never existed. The Stewart family parents naturally disliked this child, subjecting him to all kinds of bullying and oppression, until the tragic demise of the family of three forced Simon to take on the immense responsibility of the Stewart family. Outsiders describe him as decisive and ruthless, but I understand the hardships he endured since his junior year in college when he shouldered the entire Stewart family's burden. If Simon hadn't been tough enough, how could he have faced those scheming relatives and shareholders, secured his current position, or led the Stewart family through countless challenges to become the leading enterprise in City A today? He's here, looking at the man right in front of me. I immediately put on a gentle and virtuous expression. Honey, Although Simon responded coldly, he stood by my side and bent his arm. I immediately understood and quickly reached out to link arms with him, being so considerate. Of course I had to give the male lead some face, but in this kind of occasion, there's only one thing I need to do: keep smiling, always smiling. Damn, this James CEO really loves to talk. Might as well hang a sign saying, "Give me your money now," on his forehead. Oh ho ho, isn't that CEO Lee? I remember last time he had a minor celebrity by his side. Seems like he's changed companions today. Ugh. Why does this Lincoln CEO keep staring at me? I know I'm good looking. I can smell the delicious food. It's being served now. I have no idea how cheerful and bright I'd become if I could just stuff all those delicacies into my mouth. Go take a rest over there, okay? Oh no, I agreed too quickly. Totally out of character, I quickly lowered my eyes, feigning reluctance. Husband, you've worked so hard entertaining guests. As your wife, I should stay by your side. Fine. What the hell does fine mean? Shouldn't the male lead hate the female supporting character the most? Shouldn't he be eager to see her gone? My lobster, abalone, snow crab, salmon, white truffle. At this moment, my eyes weren't eyes, my nose wasn't a nose, and my face was still frozen in an expression of lingering awkwardness. I've sacrificed too much to become a virtuous wife and good mother. Simon lowered his head with a faint smile. All right, go get some rest, okay? Respecting the client is the greatest respect you can show yourself. Food, here I come. I turned away decisively, failing to notice the helplessness and adoration in Simon's eyes. Only when my stomach was full of delicious food did I vaguely remember. Today was the day the female lead returned. I think her flight was supposed to arrive at 6 o'clock. Now, it's almost 8. What's wrong with the male lead? Is his career more important than the female lead? Are social engagements more important than divorce? I sat on the small sofa nearby, full and tipsy, staring blankly as the hall buzzed with clinking glasses and cheerful laughter, until a tall and slender figure stood before me. Go back? Then what? Do you want something to eat? The client must be pitiful too, socializing all night without even a sip of water. Simon stared at me thoughtfully. I want to eat the beef noodles you cook, I sweetly agreed. Okay. Capitalists really are bloodsuckers, with so many delicious foods here. He doesn't enjoy them but insists on making me work. Forget it, for the sake of 300 million cold hard cash. Who told me to be such a kind-hearted wage slave? I obediently followed Simon out of the venue. The ride was silent until an abrupt ringtone shattered the tranquility inside the car. Can't blame me for eavesdropping. The car was just too quiet. Simon, I've been waiting for you at the airport for 2 hours. You are, Rose? Wow, the female lead arrives fashionably late. Simon, I've been waiting at the airport from the moment I got off the plane until now. I know you resent me for leaving back then and are deliberately ignoring me. I don't blame you, but can you see me one more time? I really miss you. Ahem, sorry, I think I might have caught a cold. It's okay, I'll wait for you forever. TSK TSK TSK. Listen to that weak and helpless voice. Even my heart aches for her, lead actor. What are you waiting for? Hurry up and go pick up your beloved, then you'll realize you still deeply love her and come back to divorce me. I won't ask for too much in the divorce settlement. Just 300 million will do. 500 million would be even better. Lost in my beautiful fantasy, I failed to notice Simon's increasingly dark expression beside me. Ouch. A sudden break sent me lurching forward. I looked at the man beside me in utter confusion. I know you're in a hurry. But could you maybe not be in such a hurry? Didn't the female lead say she would wait for you forever? The supporting female character's life matters too. Simon, with a dark expression, was furiously tapping on his phone. Out of the corner of my eye, I saw him searching for the airport location. Now, it's time for me, the devoted, unwavering, gentle, and understanding original wife, to make my appearance. Honey, if you're in a hurry, you can just drop me off by the roadside. I can take a taxi back by myself. It's all right, don't keep Miss Rose waiting any longer. Simon's voice was icy cold. How virtuous of you, constantly pushing your own husband toward another woman. Well, damn it, why aren't you following the script? How am I supposed to act now? Don't panic. Maybe this is just the male lead and female lead's little trick to deliberately increase misunderstandings and friction between them. So in the end, I'm just a part of your play. I secretly pinched my thigh, trying hard to squeeze out a few tears, looking pitifully at the man in front of me, because I know that Miss Rose is someone special to you. I dare not dream of competing with her. Husband, I know I'm not worthy of you. As long as I can stay quietly by your side, I'll be content. Simon gave me a sinister smile and said word by word, then please, stay quiet, with a press of the accelerator. The car started moving again. I observed the scenery around me. Something's wrong. This isn't the way to the airport. This is the way home. Perhaps sensing my barely contained curiosity, Simon, in a rare moment of kindness, explained, I had my assistant pick her up. Oh my God, the domineering CEO actually knows he has an assistant and even thought to have the assistant pick someone up. Shouldn't it be that she can't live without you, so you have to go yourself? Why does this plot feel so unnaturally normal? What are you thinking about? Nothing, I coquettishly defended myself. I'm thinking about what broth to use when I cook noodles for you later. Whatever, anything you make is good. The Bentley came to a smooth stop in the garage. Simon suddenly turned and stared at me blankly. Honey, it's so good to have you, me, an awkward yet polite smile. Oh my God, the male lead has really lost it. Although it's the weekend. Workaholic Simon actually didn't go to the office or look for the female lead. This isn't normal. It's way too abnormal. Honey, I made plans with Lucy to go shopping. Go ahead, wait, take this with you. Simon handed over a black card, the unlimited kind, buy whatever you like, and pick 2 ties for me while you're at it. Okay, hubby, men who directly hand over cards are really so handsome. I feel like I'm falling for him, meeting Simon's gentle gaze. I always feel there's a strange hint of smugness in his eyes. To be fair, Simon treats me, his nominal wife, quite well, although it was the Smith family who schemed against him. He didn't retaliate against them after marrying me. In daily life, he never mistreats me, is always generous with money, and we have maids for household chores. I only occasionally cook. Most importantly, the man is wealthy, owns property, and has no living parents. Although the male lead belongs to the female lead, the money can be mine. Maybe I'll spend 5 million today. The client probably won't mind, right? Tonight, I can also go to the club Lucy recommended and pop some champagne. Big sis is coming. Simon's expression suddenly turned a little strange. Darling, what is it? Come back early. Oh, okay, damn right. Hurry up and run. Money waits for no one. I still think Simon is weird, can't quite put my finger on it. Lucy eyed the jewelry and designer bags I bought with obvious curiosity. What's gotten into you today, spending so lavishly? You always used to say you were saving for retirement. I'd better hurry up and spend the black card Mr. Pay gave me. What if he takes it back and some other woman gets to use it? Lucy sat down beside me, her face full of gossip. I heard the Meng family's heir is back. So what are you going to do? What else can I do? Deal with it, I guess. I spread my hands. Right now, I'm just hoping that when we divorce, Simon will remember how well-behaved and obedient I've been these 3 years without causing any trouble, and give me a bigger share of the assets. So you're just going to admit defeat and hand over the husband you worked so hard to get. You said it yourself. He's a husband I schemed to get, not someone who genuinely loves me. I sighed. What else can I do but admit defeat? She's his beloved white moonlight. The one you can't have always stirs desire. How can I possibly compete with that? Might as well focus on getting more money. That's at least something real. I already knew about Simon and Rose, the childhood sweethearts who were a match made in heaven, even before I transmigrated here. The Stewart family had one biological son, and they looked down on Simon as an outsider. However, to prevent his birth mother from spreading rumors and tarnishing the Stewart family's reputation, they reluctantly brought him back into the family. But his life in the Stewart family was far from easy. It wouldn't be an exaggeration to say everyone bullied him, yet, at that very moment, the white moonlight Rose descended like a fairy, caring for him and looking after him, until the Stewart family faced a crisis, and Simon had no choice but to take on the burden of the entire family. At that time, the Stewart family was in dire straits, surrounded by wolves and tigers. But just when Simon needed Rose the most, she went abroad to study. Because of her departure, the original villainous Violet had the opportunity to take advantage of the situation, but the past crisis has passed, and now that the little fairy has returned after completing her studies, it's only natural for the two to reconcile. Lucy put her arm around my shoulder and sighed. Forget it. Don't think about those rotten men anymore. As long as you have money, men are a dime a dozen. You're right. Where's that place with the 8-pack abs guy you mentioned last time? Take me there quick. Lucy and I hit it off immediately. Let's go. Sure enough, surrounded by young, sweet-talking, and well-built guys, all my worries just melted away. I'm not much of a drinker but can't resist indulging, and after a few rounds, I was already feeling lightheaded. The fair-skinned younger man beside me eagerly said, "Sister, try this. It's the best wine we have here. It's the most expensive wine, isn't it? But it doesn't matter, you're sweet-talking, and sis has money to spare." Just as I was about to take it, a pair of slender, well-defined fingers snatched it away. The other person glared at me coldly. My wife has had enough to drink. Simon, why is he here? Husband, why are you here? To take you home. This world has truly become surreal. The female lead is back and you're not going after her. Why are you staring at me, the supporting character, dazed by alcohol? My reactions were sluggish. Simon shoved the young pup aside and dragged me out by the arm. What's the big idea? I just got here, and there are still a few boys who haven't arrived yet. Are we really leaving like this? Don't want to leave. Simon's voice was icy cold. After all, we're not divorced yet, and I can't break character. What if he thinks I'm fickle and reduces the divorce settlement? Violet, hurry up and think of a way to show your loyalty. After all, there are plenty of younger brothers after divorce. But the sugar daddy is right in front of you. I took the opportunity to lean softly against Simon, coquettishly whining, "Honey, I didn't want to come to this kind of place either. It was Lucy who dragged me here. Where is she? She left me, as expected of a good sister. You're the first to fly when disaster strikes. Listen to me." "Thank you, Violet. Taking my money to find someone at a club. I don't talk nonsense. Whether it's true or not, first deny it 3 times in a row, then make something up. Honey, my eyes and heart are only for you, and you're the one I love the most. Can't you feel my affection for you all these years?" Simon gave me a cold glance. "No, I can't. Damn it, don't make me curse. Prove it to me." this, how am I supposed to prove it? Got it. The male lead's character setting is that he's a clean freak. No woman except the female lead can get close to him, man. Your coldness is my protective shield. I tiptoed, pouted my lips, and slowly leaned toward him, all while silently counting down in my heart, 3, 2, 1, 1.9, 1.8, what's going on? Why hasn't he backed off yet? Normally, shouldn't he be dodging backward? I was frozen in an awkward position when suddenly a large hand rested on my waist, pulling me into an embrace, and warm lips pressed down. Oh my God. I'm guilty. I just bit the male lead. Be quiet, Simon suddenly snapped. And before I could react, his urgent kisses came crashing down again. His broad hand cupped the back of my head as he launched a fierce, domineering assault. It took me a long time to vaguely realize. I hadn't said anything either. Dazed, I was taken home by Simon. My mind was a mess the whole way, and the more I thought about it, the more I felt something was off about the current development. The female lead has been back for 2 days. Why hasn't the male lead made a move yet? Isn't my role as the villainess a bit too prominent? I sat at the dining table with dark circles under my eyes, and Simon was still there. Something's off. Why isn't the workaholic working? When I glanced at Simon for the 3rd time, he couldn't help but ask, "What's wrong? Why aren't you at the company today?" I said I'd accompany you home. Don't you remember? I actually did forget. After all, I don't have much fondness for that Smith family. Violet may appear to be a wealthy heiress, but in reality, she has nothing except money. The Smith family is a typical example of favoring sons over daughters. They shower their son, Jiang Yang, with money, love, and resources, treating him as if he were a fragile treasure, holding him in their hands for fear he might fall, cradling him in their mouths for fear he might melt. The favoritism couldn't be more blatant. As for their daughter, Violet, they simply go through the motions. The Smith family isn't short on money, so they haven't deprived her materially, but emotionally, they've all but neglected her. When Violet was sick, when she was sad, when she felt lost and alone, they were always by her brother's side. It was precisely this unconditional neglect that fostered Violet's twisted and unscrupulous personality, yet her initial mischief and willfulness were merely attempts to gain her family's attention. Later, when Violet returned home late one night and encountered some hooligans, Simon happened to pass by and helped her deal with them. From then on, she fell in love with Simon. Those starved of love believe that grasping at even a shred of it means they can be loved, even if it was just someone else's kindness. The Smith parents, aware of Violet's feelings and optimistic about the Stewart family's prospects, orchestrated that accident. In the eyes of the Smith elders, daughters were meant for arranged marriages. Now that they've chosen someone you like, you should be grateful. Recalling the past, I rubbed my temples in frustration. Another tough battle ahead. Upon arriving at the Smith family's home, Simon was immediately dragged into a chess game by Violet's father, while I was shooed into the kitchen by my mother to cook. I was speechless. Are the family chefs just for show? Why must I be involved in this? Listening to Violet's mother nagging away, it was all about urging me to quickly bear a child for Simon, preferably a boy, to secure my current position as Mrs. Pay. Having a son will secure your future in your later years. Mom is doing this for your own good, and now that girl is back. You need to act fast. Everyone knows about her and Simon. You should take advantage of being Mrs. Pay now and hold on to your man tightly. It's not that I haven't thought about arguing back, but experience has taught me that the more I refute, the more she'll go on. Deep-rooted beliefs can't be easily changed with just a few words. I'm not listening. I'm not listening. Turtle chanting scriptures. Where's Simon? Never mind. He's just another unreliable man anyway. When can I get divorced? After the divorce, the Smith family won't want me anymore, and I can just hug my money and enjoy freedom. Honey, Simon suddenly appeared at the kitchen door. Come have some fruit. Go on, go on. Violet's mother was like a tamed model of virtue, always compliant to men's requests, even when it was her son-in-law. But that's fine too. At least it freed me from the kitchen and the nagging. Honey, let me peel an orange for you. I leisurely gave Simon 2 segments and stuffed the rest into my own mouth. Your dad said, he wants us to have a child. What do you think? Ahem, male lead, don't suddenly say such things. It's quite frightening. Okay, what do you mean how I see it? With my eyes, of course. since I arrived, our relationship has been more innocent than my face. How could we possibly have a child? Simon looked somewhat strange as he approached me, enunciating each word clearly. I think his proposal is quite good. What's so good about it? You must really be desperate. Isn't the female lead back already? Why are you staring at me, Violet? Huh? You are my wife. I know. Ha ha ha. This is so sudden. I haven't prepared myself yet. Forget it. For now I can only stall for time. Protagonist, hurry up and make your appearance. Violet, huh? You truly have no heart. Me. The male lead's hormones are out of whack. Acting so sarcastic. Are you trying to get yourself killed? The meal was eaten without tasting a thing. Violet's father was blatantly ingratiating himself, practically carving, "Hurry up and give me that project," on his forehead. Violet's mother was hinting at childbirth both overtly and covertly, as if she couldn't wait for me to show up tomorrow carrying a 10-pound baby boy. Simon's words left me in such turmoil that I simply tuned everything out and focused on eating in silence. After the meal, Simon finally got us out of there by claiming he had work to attend to. At that moment, I was truly grateful to him. The moment I got in the car, I let out a long sigh, utterly exhausted. If you don't want to come back in the future, just refuse directly. I did want to refuse, but I was worried they might go to the company and bother you. With the Stewart family's current strength, we no longer need the Smith family's help, nor do we need to put up with their attitudes, of course. You're so outstanding. You're the reigning overlord, the business world's alpha wolf. You are my wife, Simon, and naturally you share in my glory. There's no need to be subservient to the Smith family. I quietly gazed at the man beside me. You're being unusually talkative today. Simon fell silent and stepped on the gas, speeding the car forward. Considering my character setting, my needs, and the rest of my life, I felt I needed to do something. Honey, you're so wonderful. I'm really happy to have married you. Praise him, make him feel elated, let him feel my love. Guilt is tied to money. Let the guilt come even stronger. Ouch. A sudden break almost sent me flying. Looking up, isn't that the female lead, Rose? History always repeats itself in uncanny ways. But still, female lead. Why must I always get dragged into trouble the moment you appear? As the villainess, I've truly borne too much. Rose stood weakly by the roadside, swaying like a willow in the wind. And upon seeing Simon's car, she rushed over excitedly. Protagonist, I know you're in a hurry, but don't be hasty. Your life is precious, but so is mine. Simon rolled down the window and shouted angrily, "Are you trying to get yourself killed?" I'm sorry, Simon, I just wanted to see you so badly, and I got too excited when I saw you. I never thought we'd meet here. I'm really happy. Female lead, isn't this the only way home for us? Simon's face was icy as he sat in the driver's seat without moving an inch, speaking to the female lead through the car window. Is there something you need? Rose hesitated, glancing at him and then at me sitting in the passenger seat before whispering, I missed you, as expected of the female lead, going straight for it. What should I do? Should I quietly step aside to not disturb them? Or take this chance to show my loyalty? I need to give the male and female lead space to rekindle their old flame. Miss Rose, I'm already married. Please watch your words. Is this something the male lead should be saying, or are you two engaged in some play I don't understand? Simon frowned deeply, his eyes filled with annoyance and impatience. Simon, I know you blame me for leaving back then, but I had no choice, all these years. Let bygones be bygones. I have my own family now. And I hope you won't bother me anymore, and if you recklessly approach me like this again, I'll have no choice but to accuse you of fraud. Then, Simon ignored the female lead's evident disappointment, floored the accelerator, and left her far behind in the dust. My emotions were tangled. This plot was truly hard to comprehend. Miss Rose still cares about you a lot. I've also heard about what happened between you two, honey. It was my fault back then. I shouldn't have done such things to pressure you, causing you and Miss Rose to be separated. Now that she's back, whatever choice you make, I'll respect it. Of course, you should also respect me. When we divorce, remember to give me the 300 million compensation and that villa at home. There's nothing between her and me. Is this an explanation to me? Actually, it's completely unnecessary. Simon irritably tugged at his collar. the loosened tie revealing his sharply defined Adam's apple and delicately prominent collarbone. Further down, nothing could be seen. Rose's kindness toward me is too obviously calculated, so obvious that I can't feel any warmth, only manipulation. Is this something I should know? Rose comes from a well-off family and happens to be neighbors with the Stewart family, which gave her the advantage of proximity. However, the moon she initially wanted to capture wasn't Simon, but Nathan, the only son of the Stewart family. As for her kindness toward Simon, an outsider, it served two purposes. First, it was convenient and helped accumulate favors. Second, it was a good opportunity to showcase her benevolence. Most importantly, whenever she had occasional quarrels with Nathan, she could use Simon to grab his attention. Would you deliberately flaunt your kindness toward me, knowing full well it would provoke jealousy and schemes from others? Would you only be nice to me in front of others? Would you tell me to wait for you while constantly keeping backup options for yourself? Rose would. So the male lead isn't stupid after all. He actually knows all of the female lead's little schemes. This plot is indeed so normal that it feels abnormal. Actually, when I read the novel, I also thought the female lead had some green tea tendencies. I just didn't expect the male lead to see through it so clearly. I don't really mind Rose using me. After all, the Stewart family was in crisis at that time, and I genuinely hoped she could help me, even if it was with ulterior motives. But she chose to leave after weighing the pros and cons. Though it's human nature, it's just hard to judge. I couldn't help but ask, so, you were willing to marry me not just because you felt responsible for what happened between us, but also for the Smith family's assistance? The initial me did marry you for the Smith family's help, but I've never regretted marrying you, and also, nothing ever happened between us. Oh, Simon smiled with a hint of coldness. What, do you think all men are instinct-driven animals who crumble at the first sign of desire? Me, an awkward yet polite smile. How would I know? I'm not a man. Besides, I wasn't even there at that time. And the original female lead was drunk too. Who knows what really happened that night? I was indeed in a bad state that night, but there's more than one way to cope. Whether a man can restrain himself depends on whether he's willing to. So, all those so-called unavoidable situations afterward were just excuses. Although nothing happened between us, it conveniently gave Rose an excuse to leave. Now she can finally stand on the moral high ground and righteously accuse me of failing and betraying her, then turn away without any burden, mentioning the past. Simon's mood darkened slightly. Returning home, he pulled off his tie and gripped it in his hand, pouring himself a glass of water and drinking it in large gulps. His Adam's apple bobbed as water droplets slid down his sharp jawline, leaving a faint trail behind. Simon stood there, enveloped in an inexplicable loneliness. He looked at the tie in his hand and murmured, "Violet, I really like this tie you chose. I also like the suit, shoes, watch, and cufflinks you bought for me. I like everything you picked. The furniture, chairs, curtains, paintings, the fresh flowers in the living room, the fruit on the coffee table, and even the coffee beans you selected. I remember all the little things, the meals you made, the light you left on every night, the times you waited for me on the couch, and how you stayed by my side when I was sick. I'm truly touched by all of it. Violet, let's live a good life together." What is he doing? Is this some kind of subtle confession? But why? Why me? Why not you? It was you who stayed by my side during my toughest times, you who cared for me every day, you who looked after me so attentively, and you who kept our home in perfect order. Violet, you're the one who made me feel at home. But wait, did I just speak out loud? How does he know what I'm thinking? I've always known. If I couldn't hear your thoughts, I'd never have realized that my seemingly devoted wife is actually determined to divorce me. Aw. I want to scream like a groundhog. This is terrifying. He knows everything. Then, what else has he heard? All I've been thinking about lately is getting a divorce. Violet is dead. Burn paper if you need anything. You ask how I died. Oh, turns out it was social death. Simon helplessly ruffled my hair, with such a rich inner monologue. Are you trying to get yourself killed? I know. Then why did you? I love you, Violet. Maybe you should try me. See how I compare to those outside. I tossed and turned in bed, unable to sleep, my mind filled with Simon's confession. How did the plot end up like this? Under my repeated questioning, Simon admitted that he could only hear my thoughts when he saw me. and couldn't when he couldn't see me, so I retreated at lightning speed, decisively fled the scene, and instantly hid back in my room. I stared at the ceiling, my mind a tangled mess. The original me was also born into a family that favored sons over daughters, unfortunately. I wasn't as lucky as the current Violet, though I lacked love. At least I had money, but in that world, I was dirt poor, barely managed to get diagnosed with depression, and then was blessed with breast cancer. Fortunately, I didn't suffer much before coming to this world. I've read this novel, so I know that once the female lead returns, the male lead will divorce me and offer a hefty compensation. For someone who was once miserably poor like me, this is an irresistible temptation, so my kindness towards Simon was also heavily motivated by ulterior motives, or perhaps, Rose and I are essentially the same at our core. If that's the case, why should I deserve Simon's affection? I've never been in love before. I don't know what love is, much less understand the reason behind Simon's sudden confession. I irritably messed up the bird's nest on top of my head. If you can't figure something out, just set it aside. Set it aside and you'll forget about it. I called my troublemaker friend Ms. Lucy out for drinks, then sneaked out of the house. Can't let Simon see this, or he'll see right through my little scheme. What should I do now? I'm so annoyed. What do you mean, what should you do? Simon has already extended an olive branch. Why aren't you rushing to hold on tight? But why do I feel so uneasy? Could it be because your conscience has finally kicked in, realizing how pitifully foolish you've been? Nonsense. Since when do I have something like a conscience? Well, isn't that perfect? You're heartless. He's hopelessly devoted. You two are made for each other. I took a sip of the crystal clear cocktail in front of me, but it did little to soothe my agitated mood. Seeing my gloomy expression, Lucy finally started speaking some sense. Actually, Simon is quite pitiful. He's been a suppressed child since childhood, and his white moonlight rose is just a social butterfly. Someone like him must yearn for family a lot, just like you. That's true. In any world, Violet has never received her family's favoritism. That's why I've been so dedicated to taking care of my home since I came here, because I know this is my home. Every plant and tree, every lamp and painting has been carefully chosen by me, or perhaps, I've also been unknowingly enjoying the moments of leaning on Simon. Though he says I've given him much care, he's given me the same confidence in return. The title of Mrs. Pay ensures no one dares to look down on me. Ample financial support allows me to live freely, and when the Smith family gives me trouble, he stands by my side to defend me. Perhaps I should truly face the reality of our relationship. Marriage is like two people running a company together. Love isn't everything. What matters most is mutual support and respect. Now you two poor souls are huddling together for warmth, turning negatives into positives. Isn't that just perfect? Lost in thought, I stared at Lucy and sighed sincerely. After knowing you for so long, today is the first time I realize you're actually capable of speaking sense. Lucy gritted her teeth and said, not only can I speak human language, but I can also do human things. Would you like me to give you a couple of slaps to experience it firsthand? Spare me, heroine. Bickering with my best friend helped dissipate a lot of my frustration. I've always been someone who takes things in stride. Since I'm completely transparent in front of Simon now, well, I'll just go with the flow. As Lucy and I just stepped out of the bar, we saw a graceful and tall woman walking towards me. I thought I was mistaken when I saw you just now, but it really is you. What? Are you so scared of my return that you came here to drown your sorrows in alcohol? Me, female lead, your imagination is quite something. Let's talk. I sighed. Sooner or later this was bound to happen. I resigned myself to it. Rose chose an elegant cafe where the soft background music made me drowsy. She stirred her coffee gracefully, exuding an air of condescension. I certainly don't have the death wish of drinking coffee after alcohol, just a glass of juice for me. Idly waiting for the female lead to make her move. I've always wanted to see you, but now that I have, I'm quite disappointed. You're even more disgusting than the rumors say. Wow, the female lead is quite aggressive. Aren't you ashamed of using such methods to get Simon? It's only because I happened to be away that you got the chance to take advantage. Now that I'm back, do you still have the audacity to cling to him? What happens between my husband and me is none of Miss Rose's concern. Even a clay figure has its temper. What's more, I'm not made of clay. Miss Rose's opinion of me doesn't matter at all. What truly matters is how my husband sees me. If he truly despised me, he could simply divorce me. Instead, Miss Rose, who's now at her wit's end, can only feign superiority in front of me." Rose's expression darkened. I never expected Miss Jiang to be so sharp-tongued. No wonder she resorts to unscrupulous methods. Simon and I grew up together. No outsider could possibly understand what we share. Rose wore a nostalgic expression. Simon is a very kind person. After all, Miss Jiang has been by his side for 3 years, so he wouldn't want to hurt her with harsh words. If Miss Jiang had any self-awareness, she should take the initiative to leave and preserve some dignity for both sides. Sorry, but I don't. I picked up my bag and prepared to leave. Rose is now nothing more than a spent force, struggling in vain. Wait, what are you waiting for? He's here. I looked toward the entrance, where Simon was walking toward us. Simon, you've never been late before. Ignoring her coquettish tone, Simon stood directly by my side and naturally took my hand. Sorry I'm late, Simon. Miss Rose, I've made myself very clear to you. I'm married, and I love my wife dearly. Please stop harassing her. Otherwise, I'll make sure you're sent back to where you came from. Tears welled up in Rose's eyes. Simon, how could you treat me like this for the sake of that woman? Have you forgotten everything we shared? Have you forgotten who secretly brought you food when you were being humiliated by the Stewart family? Have you forgotten who delivered medicine to you in the dead of night when Chairman Pei beat you? Have you forgotten? I haven't forgotten. Which is why I've provided the Miller family with ample assistance. You should be well aware of the crisis the Miller family is facing now. Rose, what more could you possibly want? I just want to start over with you. Simon sneered coldly. We were never together in the first place. How can we start over? Simon, you're still blaming me. I don't blame you. Everyone has their own choices. I won't stand in my position to criticize your past decisions. And I ask you not to keep dwelling in the past trying to hurt my wife. I'll say it again. Let bygones be bygones. Simon held my hand and walked out of the cafe without looking back. Silence filled the air again on the way back. The atmosphere was truly suffocating. I don't dare let my thoughts run wild, afraid the male lead might hear everything clearly. I'm sorry, I didn't handle it well and caused you trouble. It's fine. This day was bound to come eventually. This woman is always scheming. She's forcing me to make a choice, and forcing herself as well. Simon explained. The Miller family is currently facing an economic crisis and plans to have Rose enter into a marriage alliance. The candidate has already been chosen, so, Rose forced you to make a choice. If she still had a chance with you, she would give up the marriage alliance. This woman is the best at balancing and calculating. I lowered my gaze and whispered. But isn't it the same for me? Since you can hear my thoughts, you should know that my kindness toward you also has its motives. I know, but I don't mind. Why not? Whether you like my money or me as a person makes no difference. My money is part of who I am, me, daddy client. Your double standards and thoughtfulness make me question the world. I felt a bit embarrassed. What do you like about me? I don't know, I don't know, but I just do. Being with you feels comfortable. Sometimes seeing you act silly is quite adorable. Isn't it said that companionship is the longest confession of love? Maybe it's affection that grows over time. You say you're only nice to me for the money, but the 3 years of day and night together and all the tenderness were real. Violet, I'm a very pragmatic person. If money can buy your stay and companionship, I don't mind that you love money, but people always want more. Now I'm being a little greedy. I want you to love me a little more, beyond just the money. Faced with the male lead's heartfelt confession once again, I truly couldn't handle it. As soon as I entered the door, Simon's gentle voice sounded in my ear. Honey, we've been married for so long. Shouldn't we consummate this marriage? I smiled awkwardly yet politely and quickly retreated to my room. The male lead has changed. Definitely not someone I can handle. That night, I dreamed of something called a system, which told me there had been a bug in this world, but it had already been fixed. That is to say, Simon won't have mind-reading abilities anymore. But why could he suddenly hear my thoughts? Because the male lead gained self-awareness, the system explained. Since you've read the original novel, you should know the male lead was supposed to end up with the female lead, but as he spent more time with you, he developed feelings and gained self-awareness, which caused this bug. I murmured to myself, he really likes me. It's not strange that he likes you. You're not some paranoid and rebellious villainess, and you're worthy of being loved, the system said. Since the plot has already turned out this way, we can only let nature take its course. Although we created them, we can't interfere with their choices or dictate their entire lives. I was actually quite excited to see the male lead gain self-awareness. It felt like watching my own child finally grow up. The system said earnestly, Violet, be brave, you deserve love, so enjoy your life now. After waking up, I suddenly felt a sense of clarity. I had been trapping myself for far too long. Although I also tried hard to want a family, having lived in a patriarchal household for years, I subconsciously always believed I wasn't worthy of love. That's why, when money was no longer a factor, I felt lost about my feelings for Simon. Now, I should love myself more and be more confident. Thinking carefully, fate is quite fair. Although my past life was full of hardships, this life has given me a beautiful turning point. Now, my life is free, carefree, and happy, and my husband is wealthy, generous, and devoted. How happy I am. I bounced downstairs and saw Simon busy in the kitchen. I said with a smile, Honey, let's live a good life together. Simon smiled slightly and said, Not bad, you've learned to settle accounts properly. What, divorcing me will only leave you with a cold 300 million and an empty villa, but staying married means you can have 3 billion, why not? As my wife, you rightfully and legally own half of my assets. My eyes instantly sparkled with excitement, and I eagerly threw myself into the man's arms, hugging his waist tightly. Honey, you must be the reincarnation of the god of wealth. Little money grubber, honey, I knew at first glance that you're my long-lost soulmate husband. Naughty, Simon tapped my nose lightly. Go wash your hands for dinner. Coming right up. Honestly, I'm not sure right now whether I love his money more or him as a person, but I do know that I love my current life. Life's too short to overthink things. Happiness is what matters most. After all, the future is long, and time will give me the answer. After hearing the story above, what are your thoughts? Feel free to share your opinions in the comments section. Looking forward to hearing from you. If you liked this story, don't forget to like it, share it, and subscribe to my channel. See you next time.